Let's paint a portrait of Jung Kook from BTS. This is the 6th painting in my BTS portrait series. The series is themed around the band's song Black Swan, meaning I made sure that all references used came from the song's music video. As per usual, I'm starting off the image with a quick sketch, where I try to get the placement and proportions right. I can already reveal that I know that I didn't get the proportions right, but don't worry, I did end up spotting the issues and made sure they were fixed. After the sketching phase, I start off working mostly on the darker areas of the image. I do this because it's a good way to keep building on top of the sketch, but I also find it helps provide a solid base for my work. Of course, that doesn't mean that any other way of working is wrong, it's simply the process that worked best for me at the time. Once I've laid down the darkest colour, I create new layers underneath it where I start adding the colours, and I do my best to use one colour per layer. But sometimes my image size is a bit too big, so Procreate only allows me to use a set amount of layers, in which case I reluctantly merge some of these layers together. I also paint over the dark areas, which is really useful when adding highlights, but also to create softer transitions between the colours. If I'm only painting over the dark areas, I make sure that the new layer is set to clipping mask, which ensures that I can only paint within the bounds of the layer directly below it. The total time spent on this image is just under 4.5 hours, which happened over the course of 2.5 weeks. The reason it took so long was because I painted all 7 portraits at the same time, meaning I focused on one portrait one day and I worked on another the next. This allowed me to make sure that there was a consistency in style and colour usage and that I used the same brushes throughout. It also meant that any learnings I made while painting one portrait was applied to the others, which again helped making sure the images were recognisable as a series. While working with another portrait, I really struggled with getting the likeness right, and my usual tricks of mirroring my canvas in reference or even leaving the image for a while just weren't working. So I tried something new that I've used for all of these portraits. I created a new canvas and I copied in my portrait and its reference image. The reference image was then scaled up so it would perfectly overlay the portrait, and then its opacity was lowered, allowing me to more easily see where things weren't aligned. This new image was then exported and used as a new reference image, so it wasn't used for tracing or anything like that. It really helped highlight all of those little bits I wasn't able to spot any other way. And this way of finding issues in a portrait can be really useful when strapped for time or when I'm just not able to figure out what's wrong. If you have any questions about my process, please let me know in the comment section. When working with a series of images, I highly recommend saving the colours you use in a colour palette. That way, you know you're using the same colours throughout the entire series. I also copy my brushes and save them to a new brush collection. This way, I don't need to search for the brushes or run the risk of picking the wrong brush altogether. Procreate also lets you save up to 4 brush sizes and 4 opacities for each brush, which again makes it really easy to make sure that there's consistency across a series. All of these things are really useful if you need to touch up an image at a later date. I wish I could tell you if other painting apps do this as well, but I honestly don't know. That said, I would love to know if any other apps do this, so if your painting app of choice does this, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. More process videos are up on my YouTube channel, and check out my social media accounts and my website for more of my work.